another. Mainstream media. Government cover-ups. You want answers? Well, so does he. He's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network. And now, live from Austin, Texas, Alex Jones.
Right now, but I wanted to get his take on web censorship, how they're trying to censor and shut down the web. He's really been fighting against that, and I agree with him there. His kind of complex and nuanced view on terrorism, the police state, we'll be talking to him here in the next 30 minutes. Henry Rollins, thanks for coming on with us.
Oh, fine. Let's talk about my nuanced and complex view on terrorism.
You want to get into that first?
Well, I don't, how my nuanced or complex.
Well, I'm trying to say it that way because I haven't had too much time to constantly follow what you're doing, but every few months I see something you've said or done, and it seems diverse. I don't want to say contradictory, and so by that I meant you can actually flesh it out for us. Okay. Well, what's the point that sticks with you? You know, again, over the years, I know people's views change, too, and kind of go through changes, and so... I mean, tell us your view on the police state versus terrorism, kind of the whole New World Order, Henry. The police state in America? Yes. The amelioration of civil liberties? Yes. Well, I think it's part and parcel with the Bush administration, and I think a lot of it doesn't do anything to combat terrorism domestically or outside of America. The fact that the Washington Post had to brief America that Homeland Security finds it okay to detain your electronic media, your laptop or anything, your iPod, when you come into an airport in America, a foreigner or an American citizen, and they can take your laptop or whatever and download the information, distribute the information to all the intelligence agencies at an off-site location, and hold on to that information and your computer or anything else for as long as they feel. Enough Europeans complained that finally the Washington Post broke this story. A lot of Americans, myself included, did not know that they could do that. I don't know how taking my laptop away from me is going to stop the anger that is engendered by people in the world when we go into their countries and push them around. And so checking my laptop or reading my email or being able to tap my phones easily, I don't know what that is, how that's going to help ease down terror in Saudi Arabia or, anger felt in Egypt or Morocco. Well, we know it isn't, but it's going to allow the military-industrial complex to train the American people. They have no liberties or freedoms and condition us to line up and put our hands up and have no Fourth Amendment. Right, and that's too bad because a lot of Americans will start to think, the thing I really hate is when someone says, well, I've got nothing to hide. Well, that's not really the point. When you say you have nothing to hide, basically, you've just basically cowed and caved into this. And I think a review is in order. But meanwhile, the national security state is becoming more secretive than ever. They've made it national security where they can dump toxic waste and we can't know. Right. And again, this is just, if you're into big business, if you really need the rails greased to get things going, and you don't want government in the way of pushing things through, and one of the ways you kind of clear the path is to scare the living hell out of people. And when the going gets rough, the average get conservative. And that's the story of America. And a lot of Americans who hate this country or can't stand that country, they get their information from Sean Hannity, yet they can't find this place on a map, nor can they program their own VCRs. And these are the people who want assault rifles. All right, Henry Rollins, stay there. We're going to be back in 3 quick minutes to talk more with this very interesting individual. Some Henry Rollins. Rise above. Rise above. Make this short. What we say. Rise above. We're gonna rise above. Probably the
most popular, long-lasting punk rocker out there, but that's only one label you can throw on him. Hardcore punk, alternative rock, punk rock, heavy metal, noise rock, spoken word, musician, singer, songwriter, actor, stand-up comedian, author, and the list goes on and on, radio talk show host. He is Henry Rollins. We were getting into his views on the whole police state and what's happening, and we were going over the fact that having you line up and have them kidnap your laptop without a warrant, that's all part of setting the precedent that there is no Bill of Rights or Constitution and using the threat of terrorism as a pretext. Henry, what do you think about government-sponsored terrorism like Gulf of Tonkin or the Reichstag or the USS Liberty or the Maine, Operation Gladio, Operation Cyclone? I mean, I'm not defending the Soviets, but it's been now declassified that the U.S. actually funded the Muslims, Mujahideen, to attack the Russians first to get them to come into Afghanistan. Zbigniew Brzezinski just published a book last year bragging about that. I mean, your take basically on that whole angle of society.
I think it's basically all the same thing. It's business. It's why Kennedy got a bullet, because he's getting in the way of business. He didn't want the Vietnam War, and so he had to die. Gulf of Tonkin was our entrance into that conflict because it's a payday. So is Pearl Harbor. It was our gateway into World War II, a payday. And that's what we do. That's what this country does. We're the largest seller of arms in the world. And now that the thing in Iraq has the threat of cooling down in 2011, the powers that be are reheating the Cold War, so we can just keep fighting somebody. Peace threatens these people. And
they have such contempt for the American people that they tell us on the news that Russia snuck attacked Georgia when it's the complete opposite.
Yeah, well, we need to fight people. And one of the things we do when we induct a country into NATO is we sell them a bunch of weapons. The Russians know this. That's why they're angry. Because basically we're going to sell them AR-15s and they're not going to have Kalashnikovs. And so it's never hearts and minds. It's never the threat of communism or the spread of peace. It's business. It's always business. It always has been business. And with this administration, the Bush administration, it's never been so naked and in your face. And the way to make millions of Americans kind of lay down and take it, like I said, you soften them by scaring the hell out of them. And a lot of them who don't read between the lines, who don't question authority, will submit. Others are, someone like me is a bit more obstreperous and kind of in the way of that, because I'm like, nah, I don't think so. And George W. Bush has become my travel agent. When he rattles his sabers at a country, I get a visa, I book a ticket, and I go. And last year, Iran, Syria, Lebanon, Pakistan, I went to all those places, had a great time. I was in Pakistan when Benazir Bhutto was assassinated, which was extremely intense.
And again, they think we're idiots. They machine gun her in front of everyone and then say she bumped her head.
Yeah, well, they just assume that no one has the internet, no one checks YouTube, that no one fact checks their stuff. I mean, what these guys say is like they think no one's minding the store. And I see why they think that, because you see CNN and MSNBC and certainly Fox News basically clearing the way for them, because corporate media also has a bottom line, money, to do business. And if you get in the way of business, Palmolive and other companies pull their ads, and Roger Ailes isn't going to have that, Rupert Murdoch isn't going to have that, and even the sissies over at CNN aren't going to have that.
So killing is our business, and business is good, and would you say the U.S. has been the best at doing business?
Yeah, we're very good at it. And when there's no war, we'll start one. We go out of our way to sell you something so you can shoot someone else. And this has to change. I don't know how much more ordnance needs to be dropped on a country. So in Laos, there's like 3 or 4 pieces of ordnance still unexploded or undiscovered per person in that country. That's no way to live. And we're part of that history.
Oh, there's no doubt in that. That whole war was started, as you said, with a staged event.
Yeah, well, because it's business, and it's what you do with a bunch of humans. You fight, you have them fight each other, and you derive money from that. And I think there's ways for everyone to get paid when you don't need the guns.
Well, I want to talk about those ways.
There's lots of ways where people can all eat and get along, and you don't have to have a war to make your money.
Henry Rollins is our guest. Henry, fire out some of the websites for people to visit, because we're on in places like Austin, Texas, and places like Buffalo, New York, and St. Louis.
Well, I'm easily found at henryrollins.com. I mean, I'm easy to access there.
henryrollins.com, ladies and gentlemen, and you can link through there and find out tour dates. Now, they won't just be hearing music here. You also do spoken word.
Yeah, I do a lot of talking shows. I mean, that's the kind of shows I've been doing for quite a while. And all this year, I've just been doing speaking dates all over the world, and doing a lot. I shot 5 documentaries this year, and they're going to be coming out, some this year, some next year.